welcome back to the WTF Sunderland podcast that is just absolutely beaming with pride after Sunderland pulled off another fantastic result, winning 1-0 at Nottingham Forest to go third as it stands at the time of speaking in the Premier League. It's been a genuine pleasure to watch us in the last few months, and it's been an absolute pleasure to podcast about them. It hasn't always been that way, but look, I've got loads of people who want to wax lyrical with us yet again about that Omar Alderete winner at the City Ground. So to join my giddiness, I've got first and foremost the most giddy of them all, Dave Lawrence. Dave, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Oh, mate, all the better for that. It's so many subplots, wasn't there? That was great today. Chris Wood's absolutely giant orange big toe, which kept Alderete on side. Really enjoyed that one. And Elliot Anderson, yeah, just hit the ball down Robin Roof's chest. He'll deal with it. Couldn't give a. I'll be polite, so you don't have to do too much editing. But yeah, mate, have you ever seen a Mackem in Milan? We might next season.
We might. By the way, I said as giddy. What I meant was someone who's got as many skiddies that, sorry, I'm a little bit drunk. Got it a little bit mixed up. Ross, you've also joined me as well. Ross Black, how you doing? You well?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good, mate. I wish I was as happy as Dave right now, but I'm still very, very happy. It just class in it, winning away in the Premier League. Easy.
Yeah, like at what point do we go? This is actually really, really easy, by the way. Do we just get the straight pass to the Super League or the Champions League?
The one thing I would say is, with as much as I absolutely love Reggie Lebris, the fact that he's just so happy to defend 1-0 leads means that we could win. We could win every game 1-0 and it would never be easy because we'd be on the edge of our seat, absolutely shitting ourselves.
But it would never be boring, which is the beauty of
That's,
it all.
that's what's the exciting thing about it, isn't it? We're never going to be boring this season.
No. Sophie, I feel like it's been ages since I've seen you like in person, mate. Well, via Zoom. You're obviously not here in person, but you're all right.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It feels like it's been a while since I've been on actually,
Mm.
but I'm all the happier for being on during a win as well. I mean, what a win. Like you say, this Premier League, it's like work, isn't it?
It's been a while since, actually, I don't think I've ever had you on, so it's been a first time ever, but I've roped in one of my old pals to join us as well. The crossword king, Connor Bromley. Connor Bromley, though, one of the only men who I'll give normally always full title to, although I have just called Dave Lawrence, and Ross Black. But Connor, you all right?
I'm good. This is actually my second appearance.
Is
So
it?
I don't know when I was on, but I've definitely been on once before. Early days of your podcast. Like I'm talking, probably when you were professional, like 2022 or something. But yeah, I'm here to plug a book, really. That's the only reason I've joined you degenerates for this. I'm just literally here because I want people to buy my crossword book, which you helped us with, to be fair, Graham. You were the fact checker. So if anyone has any whinges about questions being wrong, that comes back to you, and I'll send them to your door because you were the one who checked all the questions with us.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I had a 2 hour phone call of discussions about old Sunderland questions, and I think I got about 96% of them right.
You
So,
didn't
like,
get many wrong. You got like 4 or 5 in the whole thing.
because I'm a Sadak that doesn't have any
Yeah.
life whatsoever.
But
But
also, with it being a crossword, you don't have the luxury, when I was just asking the questions, of seeing the letters on there. So you probably would have got 100% if you'd done it in the traditional way.
I just wish you'd asked me at the time, like, how big would the gap be between Sunderland and Newcastle come the end of September? Because I would have got that absolutely spot on, because it's a fucking distance, you bastards. Connor, I'll stick with you. Look, massive win. We're giddy, we're happy, and we're all having a bit of a joke in that. But I think in the context of the season, we talked about how big that point last week would be. I think when we look at the end of the season, when you look at Nottingham Forest away, Europa League team, all right, might be in Conference League, sorry, Palace fans, but that's just a really big win and a deserved one. And it's suddenly starting to feel like not only can we stay up, like we belong here, I think.
Yeah, and there's so many things to dig into, isn't there? So we can talk about 11 points from 6 games. That means we've got 29 to go until we get 40. You work out, we've got 32 games left, 29 points to go. That means we've got to pick up on average 0.9-ish points per game and we'll stay up. So that's a massive, massive win. That, will we pick up less than a point per game from now at the end of the season? From what we've seen so far, you'd probably say not. You've also got to look at just what your eyes are telling you. And my eyes are telling me that we're very solid defensively and we've got a goal in us. We look very dangerous from set pieces. And, you add that all together, we've got a manager who's pretty good at, so far, touch wood, actually touching wood as well. We've got a manager who knows how to manage a game, and, we look solid. He seems to be getting everything right now, and everything he's touching turns to gold, and everything the club's touching right now turns to gold. So I don't want to be talking about Europe yet, like yous, Conference League and all that stuff, because it always blows up in our face, doesn't it? But it feels different now. It feels like this won't blow up in our face because we feel like we are the club right now that it's got all that positive momentum and we can have a great season.
Yeah, it feels like I'm just immensely proud. I think I was speaking to a guy, Dawson, who's from Chicago, and he chose us as his team ages ago, and I'm helping him plan his visit over here. And I think I talked to people before about Michael, who chose us as a team from New York. And I mean, I say chose. I think sometimes someone chooses you, and both of them are just like I always knew like the team had this huge potential, and I always knew why the fan base was so like venomous and strong and passionate even when you were in League One. It just felt like this always had the potential. And they're like buzzing and they're sitting in these amazing cities in the world like New York and Manhattan and New Jersey and Chicago and they're going, "Oh, I just want to be in like Southwick." And I'm like, I know what you mean and I understand it for once. But it does like I think without going too deep into it because it's quite easy to do when you're about four whiskeys deep to be honest, but I think it's just a really proud time to be part of Sunderland because I think the 11 players on the pitch every week and the substitutes that come on absolutely work their knackers off. And I think that is the bare minimum we ask normally. And I think that's why the likes of I don't know, I'm not going to pick out any names because I feel like that'd be offensive, but there's certain players that might not have the quality, but they've worked their asses off and they've had that respect. These players are working their arse off, but some of them are also world class, which just really helps the cause. Like Jack is working his knackers off, but he's also a world class footballer. Alderete is outstanding, but he also works his knackers off. And it's just someone asked a question, a listener question was like, is this the best team in the generation? And it is. I don't think it's even a question. I think I've got me Phillipses and me Quins and all that kind of stuff, but like the way this team's playing at the minute, it's pushing that already. If it continues on, I think in a generation, and I unfortunately have to say I'm not the younger generation anymore. That's probably Sophie. It's definitely the best because they're used to seeing Josh Gowan, and well, anything's better than that. But Dave, look, stop me wobbling on, mate. What a fucking win, mate! Jesus Christ, what a win! Massive, giddy, happy, proud. Like we could wax lyrical about this all night, couldn't we?
Absolutely. We all know that I'm the same era as you and Quinn and Phillips
You look older, to be fair.
I'm not so sure I agree with that.
Fuck off.
Hit on his insecurities, we like that. Mate, going back, like we've said in previous podcasts before, people like Gavin McCann underrated and stuff like that. Gavin McCann, Granite Xhaka. There's levels to this game, as they say.
Unfair Gavin McCann, that. Class Gavin McCann.
Oh, mate, I loved him. Like, absolutely loved it. He's so much better than people give him credit for, to be fair.
Yeah.
But honestly, so many of them over the years, like, this team is scarily good. And you can joke about it, you can take the piss and whatever else. There's the United fan in the background.
Shitting himself. He's currently on the bog because he's shiting himself about next week.
He's well aware that they may well get beat next week, and understandably so, because there is some really, really, really good footballers with a really high ceiling. He was talking earlier on before he'd had 722 vodkas earlier. And he's going on, he's like, even getting to January, like the amount of money that is potentially coming in for some of these players, and I don't think we'll lose them in January. It's far too early into the project. But Rufs, Siddiqui, DR is injured at the minute. But do I think they've got really, 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 really high ceilings? Recruitment has been exceptional, and it's just enjoy it because we will go through that period where you lose 6 games in a row. We will. It's undoubted that it will.
I don't think we will. I don't think we will. I'll be honest. Like I would have agreed with you up till about 3 weeks ago. I don't think this team will fucking allow us to lose too many games in a row. football means you will lose games. We will
Yep.
lose games. December's rough, but like I go back to what I said before, that the sort of the battle that they put in mixed with the quality that they've got just makes me think that this is not a team that is going to go on big fat losing streaks. I think was it Kevin Phillips said on Sky Sports?
Yeah,
Don't think,
Phillips and Reid won it.
yeah, Andy Reid, love to see him again, by the way, what a footballer. But I think Kevin Phillips said I don't think this team's going to get whacked by three or four at any point, which I think is a massively fair point. That's how I feel. And look, ask me again in a few months. Football's a funny thing; things can change. But Ross, I want to come on to you because there's just so many. I normally say who do you pick out, who's been your player of the match, but like I'm not going to do that because it's not fair. Granit Xhaka for me put in one of the performance of the like a performance for the ages. I think when I seen that map of where he touched the ball on the pitch near the end, and it was literally the entire pitch. I think we were all extremely excited when he signed Ross because of his stature, of who he was, and what the signing could mean. And I think a lot of people said, "Oh, this feels like a Stefan Schwartz signing." But he's now also added assists to his game. He's got three in his first six, three in the last four, technically. I think he could be better than a Stefan Schwartz signing. I think he's in a different realm, and that's no offense to Stefan Schwartz. We've got a world class footballer, but how massive has he been to this really positive start?
Yeah, it's not just on the pitch though; it's off it as well. You see his post-match interview on Sky Sports, and he's just saying himself, he knows that he's getting older, but at the same time, he's brought in to make sure that all these young lads who have also been recruited, who've got the talent, understand the standards that are needed and are set for us to keep consistent and meet them levels all season in a tough division that they've never played in. But like you say, I think the difference is this time in the Premier League. We've had some fantastic players in the past, and we've all, like you say, you've waxed lyrical about players we've had in the past who have looked at a world class level. But the Premier League, since we've left it, what we've come back in, I'd argue was probably three or four times a higher level. So there is an argument that every player we have right now in this team, like for instance, I don't know if we've had a Premier League centre half pairing as individual players as good as Mukulele and Alderete because of the levels that we're playing at now. And yeah, we've had good players in the past and good partnerships, but the level was not as high as it is now. I hope I'm not blabbering on too much, and it is to understand, but I think that we are looking at a team of talent that we've probably never experienced before over a whole. And Granit Xhaka is just the absolute pinpoint of that in the midfield, who's just dictating everything. And just like the daft thing at the end, where let's be honest, we were under the cosh a lot. There is a lot of stuff that we still need to iron out and get better at if we're going to continue picking up points at this rate. But having Granit Xhaka just take the sting out of things, win a foul, put his body in the way. You know what I mean? Them headers, the one where we kept on losing every header, and then he realised that Elliot Anderson was going to come and get it, and he just the good old Harry Kane, just put you back into it, make him jump over you, and just like that, you win a foul, you slow the game down, you take the sting out of it. All of this, it's experience, but it's also just having that that control over a game. He knows when to slow it down. When he needs to press high, he gets higher up the pitch and he pushes the whole team up, and just loads of little stuff out. He's been immense, and he's a leader. He's 33-year-old today, and I'd argue he's probably like he didn't look any. You'd think he was 28, running around the way he just controls the midfield. He doesn't look off the pace at all. Any slight concerns anyone had about him, his legs being gone, and that's why he wanted to come to Sunderland, end his career. They've all just been proven wrong, and so far so good. And I just want him to take a free kick, because I do just think one of these his long distance shooting is fantastic, and we haven't seen, I don't think he's had a shot for us from outside the box yet. I can't wait to see one of them left pegs just fly into the top corner, because if it's at Old Trafford or if it's in front of the South Stand, I think the place will just go absolutely ballistic, and I think he will as well. I think he's that kind of character where when he does score, he'll just lose his head.
I love how he was quite clearly the best player on the pitch. But I think when he got the man of the match, I loved his chat afterwards when he was like, "Oh, I could have gone to this guy straight onto his teammates, bigging his teammates up." You just, It's really hard to find players like that. Like, look, he was 16th in the Ballon d'Or last year, so I think I'm quite qualified to say that he was world class. The footballing world has said last year he was the 16th best footballer in the world, so I think he might be doing all right these days. But just everything he does, the buying of the fouls, the timing of the pass, he just doesn't lose the ball. He doesn't make the wrong decision, and he just looks outstanding. And then the players next to him, like Enzo, I think we all talk about Enzo and his quality that Enzo has, but he works his, again, another one that works his knackers off defensively. Siddiqui, well, what does he not cover? The kid's going to get cramp every week at this rate, but I absolutely love him, and he seems to like revel in it. He's got such a big smile at him and stuff like that. But Sophie, there's loads of players you could pick out, but I'm surely you're going to pick out Big Robin.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, I said at the start of the season how vital a goalie was going to be for us. And it's just his commanding presence coming for crosses. I mean, he kept us in that game. There's no mincing of words. Like what Ross said, we were under attack a lot in that game, and he kept us in it. And that's the difference, especially when you look at, newly promoted teams. You look at Leeds, they buckled at the end, and we didn't. And we could have easily
Again,
done.
by the way,
Again,
for Leeds.
yeah, falling apart again.
Again,
But, that's the difference. Again. That's the difference, and that's what it comes down to. But I thought defensively we were outstanding. Outstanding. And every single player on that pitch gave 110%. There was no one I thought that was half-assing it or anything like that.
I was trying to think of players that could have been slightly better, and I cannot really pick any. But like, I wanted to talk about Xhaka because of how good he was, but then Roof's like, I don't want to make this an anti-Anthony Patterson thing, but I was kind of very much like, oh, some of the players that can come up and let's give them a bit of a chance, like, because I've got this emotional connection to these lads that I'll always love. You Patrick Roberts, you Anthony Patterson, yeah. I think Daniel's going to play more of a part, to be honest, but like, you look at the commanding performance, and you said it before, Sophie, that you put in collecting those crosses when you just needed a goalkeeper to go, fucking get out the way, it's mine. And sometimes you
Yeah.
want that. And Ash went, I don't think Pato does that. And that's not and it's not an anti-Pato thing. It's more how good Roofs is. Like paid whoever scouted him and paid 10 million for him, be that Stu Harvey, be that Christian Speakman, whoever it may be, just give him the keys to the city because Jesus, that man's saved us a point at Palace, if we're honest. And you're going to get the where would they be with that Robin Roofs? Well, we don't need to think about it because we bought him, we scouted him, we bought him, we've got him, he's in the team. It's a stupid argument. But Connor, I'll come back to you. Crosswords aside, is there any players that you would want to pick out that we haven't mentioned already that deserve a back rub, a massage, a cuddle?
Well, I'm gonna jump a bit more on Robin Roofs because did anyone see the Man United game this morning where the Kelleher for the Man United goal, it's a deflected ball in the air and Brumo sort of backs into Kelleher, he misses the punch for it, and then Man United end up scoring from it. And then today in that game, there was a couple of times where a similar situation happened. There was a cross where the Forest player was backing into Roofs and he punched it out the way. And there was another one which was a really high ball and Roofs was just like, it's mine, I'm getting rid of it. So that's a massive difference. Keller has just went to Brentford for what 18 million quid or something stupid. He's went there for a lot of money. We've signed Roofs in there, and Roofs is commanding that box. When we're getting pelted in the game, he's commanding the area. So I just wanted to jump that on that with Roofs. And then other players on the pitch, it's really hard to pick out, when everyone plays so well, it's hard to pick out individuals and say, "Do you know what, like, yeah, I think if I was to raise a tentative concern, but I understand it, I thought Masuaku looked rusty. He looked like a player who hadn't played football, would probably be how I would describe it. There was a stupid tackle he got booked on where I think it was Nico Williams, he just rugby tackled him down to the floor. It's one of them where that early stage in the game, I think it was maybe 25 minutes in, something like that. It's a silly yellow, and that meant that he had to come off fundamentally. I actually thought he might have came off at half time. I thought that Rig did okay considering the circumstances, but I thought it was a hard game for him to sort of the player that he is, it's going to be very difficult for him going against Nottingham Forest away, especially when we don't have the ball. He looked all right when we did have the ball. Just when we're out of possession, you sometimes think, oh, it's probably not the ideal game for Chris Rigg, but I think he'll definitely get better from that experience. And then you look across the front line, Isidore had a couple of chances. He probably should have scored in the first half. He hit one just past the post, but he looks busy, doesn't he? And I think the thing with Isidore is what I've always thought of him is that he's a Premier League striker. He's not actually a Championship striker. There's some players that maybe don't translate. You look at individuals who are better in the Premier League than they are the Championship just because of the game and the way it goes. When we were playing in the Championship the first half of last season, when teams didn't think we were as good as what we were, Isidore did really well. And then the second half of the season, when everyone was like, oh, Sunderland are actually decent, and started playing the lower blocks and whatnot, Isidore struggled. We're in the stage now where every game we are often hitting teams on counter attacks, which means that Isidore obviously looks better. So I think again, he impressed me today. His work rate was really, really good. You can tell he looks confident. And Talby did okay on the other side. I don't want to go through the whole team. I feel like I am, but there we go. That's a bit of an assessment, roughly, of what I thought of this team. And, in particular, I mean, Robin Roof's for me, unbelievable. And I go back to the first point with him. I think he's saved over 3 expected goals. I know some people don't love that stat, but from what we see with our eyes, that feels right. We talked about the fact he's saved us 4 points this season. Like, that's what I'm seeing with my eyes. He does look like he is saving shots that he shouldn't be.
Technically, maybe even more because I know it didn't necessarily affect it because they scored not long afterwards, but that Brentford game could have gone so different. You never know how it might have went if the pen goes in. But with I agree with you on Masuaku. I thought he looked rusty. I thought he looked good going forward. I thought his crosses in the ball in the box and that were decent. I'm getting more impressed by Talby. I think I can see he's 19, 20. I can see that. But I feel like I like him more on the left. Weirdly enough, the few times we're on the left, I quite like him. I don't know what that is. I don't know if he's normally played. I'm sure when he came in, he was normally a left winger at Bruges. That we moved him to the right. I could be wrong with that. Like I didn't watch Bruges outside of 2 games or something last season. But I've liked it a bit more of him last week without him being absolutely perfect. But Ross talking of debuts, I feel like there's no point in going over Masuaku. I think we all probably feel the same about his Premier League debut for us. I thought Traore did well when he came on, Ross. I actually thought he did canny. I think he did what he needed to do.
Thought he was all right without being spectacular. It was a tough game to come into because
For his
you came,
position, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We came on the pitch and you're basically saying, look, you've got to put a shift in defensively. We're not going to have the ball in the higher up on the pitch. But what I thought was interesting is when he came on, he came on with Gachuda, and Gachuda went right back, Hume left back, which, to be fair, I think was a good move because I'm Trey Hughes' biggest fan, but I felt like he struggled a bit today, especially not his defensive work as such, because he was up against a good winger, but he was very sloppy in possession, which is not like
Mm.
Trey. And it's one of the things that you probably get away with in the Championship. But if you lose possession, especially the way we use the fullbacks getting high up when we can, if you lose possession there, then you are really prone to the quick transitions that we've seen. And then he had a brain fart second half where we got the ball in our box, and instead of just clearing
Aye.
his lines passing it, he just stood there for like 2 minutes and got nicked. And I was like, just get rid of the flipping ball. But but yeah, I think Gachuda as well. I think it's very underrated that he nearly had his own Nader Manua moment
Aye,
where he
I
just
said
ran
that.
through. All I could think of was like, it's like Nader Manua, it's like Nader Manua, and
He's a
then
doing it.
all he had to do was dink it, just dink. I was like, just dink it over the keeper, but he went for power and placement. But yeah, I think on that right hand side, it was a tough game for especially Traore to come into, but it just shows the depth we have that we can basically change our whole right hand side. And we're bringing on somebody who's got an abundance of experience in the Premier League and around Europe and Traore. And we're bringing on Gachuda, who's like a top European international defender who can play right back, centre back, and centre midfield. It's just abundance of quality and options there. And what I think is really good to me is we've also now, I don't know if it's by hook or crook, but since Ronaldo's red card, Regis Lebris went, we've actually got a really good back three here if we want to go five at the back. So if people want to bombard us in the box, we'll just bring Ballard on, who could literally just he'd hit anything above above waist height. So yeah, it was basically it wasn't perfect. Roof's had to save us a lot, but we're going away to a side who are playing in Europe, and let's be honest, they've got a team full of absolute stars. Like the bench was unbelievable today, and we're getting there. We're creating chances because, like I say, we've mentioned the Isidore chance that could have been, the Gertruda one that was saved, and the goal. We're not creating an abundance of chances, but the chances we are creating are good chances. So we are going to score goals away from home, and if we can keep it a bit tighter, be a bit more controlled in possession, then we've got absolutely nothing to fear in the Premier League. We're going to come up against harder teams. We're going to lose games, but if we're playing against the likes of Forest, Palace, and Villa, then let's be honest, we're keeping them at bay, and we're also creating the odd chance here and there. Then we've got absolutely nothing to fear whatsoever, in my opinion.
And like I know we've talked about it already, but we've got a goalkeeper that's going to. They say a good goalkeeper save you 9 points a season. I think he's already over halfway there for me with Roof. So you've got a keeper there. I mean, I feel it went under the radar, the signing of Gertruda. Like that's an outstanding signing. I'm not too sure if people have watched how good he is before. The fact he almost did a Nedum it wasn't like a one-off like Nedum Onaua. I think he'll do that again. The fact that we can just bring him on at random points in the game, and I think you've seen the quality he had. He'll probably go under the radar, but like if anyone watches the game back, watch when he comes on and like the passes he makes, the right decisions he makes. Everything he did was the right decision. He made the right pass at the right time, the right movement at the right time, the right tackle at the right time. He looked every inch a defender that was linked to Liverpool. A defender that was linked, I think it was one, but I think it was Barcelona or something. And look, like it's Twitter chatting it, you don't know, but clearly the boy's very highly rated. He's had a little bit of a poor season, I think, at Leipzig, but Leipzig aren't too bad either. But Dave, I'll come back to you. I want to fight this to you and Sophie because this is a great question, and you're the mad optimist, a bit like me sometimes. I think this is Chris Weatherspoon stats, right? So if I'm wrong, blame the Athletic, but I'm pretty sure he's spot on. It's technically been our best start to a top flight season since 1967, and we now have more points in August and September 2025 than we did during August and September 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016 combined. We've got 11, we had 9 combined in those months. At what point, Dave, can we allow ourselves to dream a little higher, or is it best now to just keep ourselves level and just keep going a game at a time?
Yes. Mate, it's really easy, isn't it? Another 29 points. Don't give a shit about it. You can call me the optimist, but I'm not. I ain't going to get carried away. But
Let's get carried away, man.
bless him. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Davey.
Rest in peace, bless him. It is. It's lit, and we're just like an extension of Labrie, isn't it? Because that's what he's telling the players. He ain't getting carried away. I said before, he is literally our signing of the season. The fact that he's signed that contract extension, Robbie.
Bobby! I was waiting for you to say that.
for it. I was waiting for it. But he did a job when he came on. Sophie, if you don't mention Mr. Brobby, then I'm absolutely going to cry at you. Mate, it's just nice. Just enjoy the ride. But ultimately, it's all about, we probably don't need 40 points, but it's all about the next 25 points and how quickly we can get them. And then we can enjoy ourselves and we can enjoy the fact that we're going to be playing at AC Milan next year. That's all it's about, isn't it?
I'd fancy us to be AC Milan at the minute, to be honest. I'm on that kind of high. But Sophie, I think you're a bit different. Like, I suppose for the likes of me, Ross, Connor, definitely Dave, we've had like some joyous moments. I've seen Sunderland go second top. I've seen the Keane era and stuff like that. You're younger, but we've all had the League One days, the getting up at 5 a.m. to go to Gillingham, the Accrington, all that kind of stuff in the rain. And look, now none of us would change it, but God, it makes it sweeter, doesn't it? Because it allows you to just dream a little bit more and think, maybe this is our time. Maybe I don't believe there is a God, but let's say there is a football God. Let's assume there is. He seems to be just shining on us a little bit at the minute. It feels like a time when we can dream and it's fine to be, as Davey would say, it's time to maybe get carried a bit away because that's what life's about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Our focus is staying up and getting points on the board as quickly as possible, but also let's enjoy the moment. I haven't seen us this good or high up in the table, I don't think, ever in my life, and I'm 23. So, and from what I can remember, so let's just enjoy the moment, enjoy the 3 points, and we'll take it game by game. We are going to get beat. We are probably going to get 2-3 games like where we're going to get beat on the bounce. Maybe we don't know. December, like you say, it's going to be tough, but it's important that we take in these moments and we absorb them. You know, like you say, we wouldn't change going to all these crappy grounds that we've been to for moments like this, and that's what makes supporting a club like Sunderland really special.
Yeah, 100%. That's what makes it worth it. And I was touching before about the American fans that I have who've kind of chose us or they've felt chosen. It's what makes it special. It's what made the Ballard moment felt like, and look, I could talk about that in every episode to be honest, but the Ballard moment felt like 8 years of going, you know what? Fuck you, 8 years that we've just had. Brilliant, fantastic. I've had my moment. That's been worth it. But yeah, look, to quote Davey, I think it is time to get carried away because when have we been allowed to do that with a Sunderland fan? I think the worst part is like I promised I wasn't going to drink that much this year, and I'm not like a big drinker anyway. But like every week we get a decent result, and they're going, "Oh, well, when was the last time we got a point against Villa? When was the last time we beat Forest?" And then I have like, I'll just have five, just five tonight. I'll just have five, and every week I'm noticing that I'm drinking more and more and more and more, and that's obviously not going to be good for my health because I like to enjoy it as long as I could. And if I drink too much, I might be drinking myself into a place where I don't want to be, which would be the ground. Connor, I've got listener questions here. This is a good one, and I think it's right to ask you first and foremost. Sum up Roofs in one word.
Reliable.
I wish you could have on fire.
That's 2 words, mate. You
I
just said
know.
one.
That's why I said I wish.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
I think reliable was a good word, though. I mean,
Yeah.
on the spot.
Like off the cuff, it's not bad for a pro.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
as you can tell, we need the yeah. Ross, what would your be the one word for Roofs?
Class.
Ross, I'll stick with you on this one. Listeners' question's quite a good one, I think. Who's the best choice to lead the line out of our three strikers, given our defensive-minded setup?
It depends. I think it all depends on the opposition, and I think that is what Labrie will think of. What I thought was very interesting today, and I thought it was a good sub bringing Robbie on because we needed the ball to stick a bit higher up. And to be fair, once him and Adingra did it a few times where he held the ball up and he just laid it off to him, and it was really, really good. And I can just see in everybody's mind, everyone's going, Robbie, 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 everybody.
By the
You
way,
just cannot see it. Sophie's
if
head was, I just seen her stare at us when I mentioned Robbie. She was just like, that's all she could think of.
if
But yeah,
he the
I'm trying to
first
keep the things professional here.
no, that's fuck it, it's gone. The first time he scores, I want the entire crowd to be like slimed, like Noel Edmonds' house party. Like if the entire crowd he scores and just slime everywhere. Anyway, move on. What you were saying?
I was saying, but yeah, on the forward line, I think West Ham was perfect because my ender was right because they knew how fragile they were and how he'd get space in between the centre halves. I even think against Brentford it was the right idea starting my ender, and Burnley was unlucky. But since his goal for Isidore against when he came off against Brentford, it made perfect sense for him. The Palace game he did well and then went out on the left too when Broby came on. And then against Villa, he got his goal by, pure perseverance and playing off the high line that they like to do, which they got horrifically wrong. Today, again, Connor was right. He probably should have scored, but he made sure he got in between them half spaces. As the game changed, Labrie's now got three options up front. My ender for pure pace and behind, but probably not as much control and as much pressing in the half spaces because Isidore does that very well. Isidore for games where we are probably going to just hit on the counter, but especially at home, I think Isidore's probably the best choice. But as we face teams we're literally going to have to sit so deep and concede a lot of territory, if you want to get up the pitch higher, I think then Broby's probably is the best option because from what I've seen off the bench just a few times, of course, Palace was a tough game and there was a bit of rushiness there, but today he used his physicality a lot more and got in between the two centre halves and just kept the ball and linked up play with the wide man who was a dinger at the time. And I just feel like he also occupied the defenders for that Gachuda chance. He's running behind, left that big gap in the middle for Gachuda to run into. So yeah, I think what it is we've got three options that have all got their own skill set and they're all very different in a way. I know Isidore and Mayenda have both got pace, but they use it in different ways and they link up in different ways. So it's good to have those options, and you never know. There's going to be a time where we need a goal, and we're going to see maybe all three of them on the pitch, and you could actually feasibly see that because you could always see Mayenda on the right side, Isidore on the left, and then Broby through the middle. That's how versatile they are, and yeah, it's just good to have those options. And when you think about it, the money they've been spent on those three strikers compared to some of the forward lines in the Premier League, like for instance, our competition, I'm Burnley signed, is it that Brozier for 25 million, which is, he's got Premier League experience, but that's about 4 games in 5 years or something. So, of course, Broby will be bought for potential, and we might see it yet, but he's got time on his side, and that's the main thing because he's still a young lad. And the way Isidore's took to the Premier League, like being said, he's more suited to the Premier League and the spaces he gets rather than playing against these Championship defenders who he even said himself he'd never played in a league where all he does is get kicked and elbowed and pushed in the back. Whereas now he's actually, I think this league's more suited him because he's playing against athletes rather than brutes.
I feel like we haven't even touched on Alderete yet, and I could speak about him like all day. I feel bad about it. That it's took us 42-ish minutes to talk about Alderete. But there's not much to say outside of the fact he's absolutely class. I've seen a tweet before saying he's the best Sunderland centre half since, and look, at the long old season, there's ways to go, but like he's the best. He's the most composed and made the best impact, I think, since like Steve Bold from maybe the younger generation, Johnny Evans when we had him. They're both very similar defenders, calm, composed, strong, athletic, but just good on the ball, good in the air, and just a bloody good defender with that little bit of extra class that you get in the Premier League. And he's goal today, great, nice little run. Okay, he's to be marked, maybe, but who gives a shit? The probably one thing we should need to touch on the free kick. I don't know if there's any disagreements. Please raise your hand whilst I'm speaking. But for me, to be fair to Forest, I don't think it was a free kick for us. I don't think it was a free kick for them. I think Ange Postecoglou's assessment was pretty fair. It wasn't a free kick. I don't think it was a free kick to us or to them. I think it came from the fact that the lads dove and tried to get Trey boot. Because if you watch, the referee's looked and he's not going to give anything, I don't think. And then he turns back and he kind of goes, well, hang on a minute, you've just chucked yourself again. Because Forest players chucked themselves 3 times in about the space of 5 minutes. I think the ref's seen it and gone, I've had enough of this. Doesn't make the decision right. I don't think it was a foul either side. I think it was just a coming together. I think the ball stays in play and nothing happens. I think Ange Postecoglou's assessment, though, that you need to defend better and then you've got like a full, what, 60, 70 minutes after that to equalise is fair. Like, we'll get one against us at some point, and I think you can't control that. I don't mean to go all Stephen Bartlett and everyone here. Control the controllables, guys. But like, you can only control what you can control, and they had a long time to control it, and they simply couldn't break us down. I think outside the Chris Wood chance, they didn't have too many clear-cut chances, and I dare say Roos would have saved that. I don't care what anyone says. I think he would have got across and saved it, and I'd be quite comfortable and confident in saying that, and feel like he would have done. But there's a few things to go through, I suppose. But I'll go with this one. I'll give this one to Dave. You're not going to get the last word, Dave, because that would be dangerous. But I'll give you this one anyway. Have you ever in your life looked at Old Trafford away and felt as confident as you do at the moment?
I certainly feel confident in the fact that we will compete in the game. That is for sure. And again, I go back to
Today is
Labrie.
a harder game, though, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the one thing that I give us, which I don't think people will pick up on until halfway through the season, our mentality is class.
Mm-hmm.
The personality and the mentality of our squad is unbelievable. And I can understand why people and I think yourself as well included, the frustration for people like Dan Neil, Patrick Roberts, so on and so forth. We can't even imagine the mentality shift that we've had of going from thinking that we might have half a chance of competing. I genuinely believe 6 games into the season, I genuinely believe that we already have a mentality that we will compete in every game, but also have a chance of winning every game. And then, of course, what I stick to, and I've always said, and this is a completely different character to anyone I expected, really, but with Labrie, it's an extension of the fans, and I genuinely believe our home form will just skyrocket. It's just exciting. Everything's exciting about it. I love the mentality, and yeah, going to Old Trafford next week, we're certainly not scared, are we? And that's mental.
Looking at, uh, yeah, like I don't feel, I certainly don't feel underconfident. I think every game's tough at this division, but I don't feel underconfident with it. But I've got two more to go. We'll go through a round of sum up the word. I'll give you the pre-warning, sum up the day in one word, right? But Connor, before we do go, you're here to promote something, not here because you like us. But I'm going to give you the second last word. We want more Sunderland content. We do want more Sunderland action. We do want more Sunderland chat. Everyone's enjoying just being Sunderland at the moment. And you've released what is actually a really excellent crossword puzzle, which I was the guinea pig for 2 hours. We had a good 2 hour chat about Sunderland's history. And like I say, I think I said 96%. I'm going to say 98.5% correct, I think. But look, where can we find it? Why do you do it? Where should we buy it? Why should we buy it? Why should we buy it?
There's a lot of things to digest there. So I'll answer first. Why did I do it? And the reason was that I was made redundant and had a panic. It's probably the best way of putting it. And yeah, you're sat with all this spare time. I don't know if you've ever been made redundant before,
I thought you were
but
going to say, have you ever been had a panic attack? I was going to say,
no,
yes.
no. I had a month-long panic attack while I was made redundant. But basically, when you're made redundant, I had to work for a month and I had nothing to do. So I decided to write the book because I love Sunderland and I just thought it was a fun thing to do, and it kept us occupied. Where is it available? It's available through ALS. So I've worked with Martin. I don't know if people know Martin, but he's the guy who runs ALS. Um, he sort of heard of it and thought, do you know what? We need something like that in the shop. So I'm going to work with him on other things as well. I think we're going to do a quiz book, maybe a kids like activities book, maybe branch out to other things as well. So yeah, that's where you can find it. So it'll be on the ALS shop online, ALS shop in person. It'll be in person for the Wolves game. So they'll be in stock from that point onwards. What else do you ask? Why should people buy it? If they're anoraks, that's who should buy it. Um, because that's what I am and that's why I've written it. And I think it's like it's a good level where like the questions aren't easy. I've not done it for kids. Like it goes back as well. I mean, we're talking. I'd say it's heavily biased to post millennium, simply because the further back you go, the harder it is to remember who scored a goal in 1987. Like so, the more recent. So we go Peter Reid, we got Mick McCarthy, and these are just like questions on them eras. Roy Keane, Steve Bruce. Then the Premier League years, 12 to 17. The League One years, the championship years most recently, and then there's like generic ones on like managers, specific transfers we've had, academy players, cup competitions, the positions as in goalkeeper, defence, midfield, striker, the stadium I like, Roker Park. We had time derbies, we had teas derbies, international players, and all that sort of stuff. So there's a wide variety. So I'd say if you want to buy someone who's a Sunderland fan a nice Christmas present to keep them occupied, this is the ideal gift. It's £10 as well. There we are. I think I've got everything in there that needs to be there.
September and we're discussing Christmas. Jesus. It's
Yeah.
fine. No, but on a serious note, look, if you're a Sunderland fan, I enjoyed it. I had 2 hours on the phone to Connor. I don't think I've ever done that in my life, and I don't plan on doing it ever again. I don't think Connor plans on doing that ever again.
Well, not with an acquaintance.
No, we're not friends. Um, Ross, actually, know what? I'll stick with you, Connor. One word to describe today's game. How are you feeling after today's game?
How I'm feeling, one word to describe how I'm feeling. I would say I am ecstatic.
Works for me. I'll go with proud. Ross,
Giddy.
Sophie.
Elated.
There we go. Dave.
Unreal.
That works for me. Right, perfect. I could talk about this all night. I feel like there's probably stuff we haven't covered, but look, I wanna go and get pissed. I'm not gonna lie. I wanna go and have a few more whiskeys and enjoy myself. I've got tomorrow off, so enjoy night, lads and lasses. Thanks for enjoying the podcast. If you haven't seen, we're up for an award on the football content. I don't know what it's called. Summit that reckons our podcast isn't that bad. And look, ultimately, something we've never cared about, but it would give Dave and Pete a nice night out if we had something to win. So vote
Your
for us.
attention seeker.
Yes. But I'm going to give the attention to Dave and also to Pete for this one. If you want to vote for us, it's cool. If you don't know why you should vote for us, there's mags also in our category, and I you would assume you don't want them to win it. But yeah, I don't know why we're in it, but vote if you can. I think there's a link on the Twitter page or whatever. If you don't, it's all right. I don't care. Unsubscribe, enjoy your night, go get pissed. Sunderland are third in the league because it looks like Wolves are winning, which is obviously a good thing for the Champions League push. But Connor, Ross, Sophie, Dave, thanks very much for joining us. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Graham.
I didn't know we actually had to say bye. Bye.
Yeah.
Buy the book.
Funny, you've just made that really awkward, mate.